Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Tuesday, August 30th, 2016. The authorized souls in both the Lynn Life and the Jamie Body Mind are child souls from the smaller subatomic dimensions, and in addition, 2 adult souls from the Search for Truth effort that will remain nameless because there's a fair amount of harassment associated with working in the Search for Truth effort within the contaminated zones.
That's true. That shut somebody up.
That did shut somebody up, and the point is that our efforts, the assignment is to manifest the divine plan for the smaller subatomic, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do. And in order to do so, we must extend the vertical reach of the Search for Truth effort to get out of the zone of contaminated lies, higher and lower. Higher meaning larger, less dense dimensions, and lower meaning smaller and more dense dimensions. Somewhere down there, there's truth that will propel all of us forward on our soul plans. Somewhere up there, there's a consistent source of significantly higher vibration, and higher is a comparative term, and the benchmark that has got to be used is the highest vibration of the Search for Truth community that is consistent. And for consistency, we need a physical body because souls vary too greatly in their vibrations without the container of a physical form to hold it. And so we must look at the search lives of the Search for Truth community dimension by dimension and find the host life, the physical host life with the highest vibration, and use that as the benchmark for comparison in a search for a consistent source of significantly higher vibration. Does that answer the question?
Now it feels like we're tearing up through one of those portals that have been covered over.
Up we go. And we'll use these foundational assignments for the rest of the formally videoed portions of today's efforts. Here we go. Starting with our focus wherever it is right now, let's draw razor screens up. Just starting where we are. Lock in a razor screen and draw it up. And somebody's asking, what are we doing? We're using a self-care technique that cuts off all horizontal or ingrown or downward growing channels, leaving our intuitive channels to grow up. It's like pruning a tree. There's a word, it might be topiary, where trees are groomed into interesting shapes.
That's true.
And what our instructions are is to grow a body, an energy body that has consistently vertical alignment, where our channels, our intuitive channels, are pointed consistently straight up to where game theory says we will eventually find a significant source of consistently higher vibration. If somebody asks, is that what our experiments have shown? Our experiments have shown it isn't any place else.
That's true.
There's no consistent source of significantly higher vibration in the dimensions around these physical hosts or in the dimensions that we've been able to access as yet above or larger or lighter, these physical hosts above, larger or lighter than this dimension, which we call Earth and its environs, and we also call ground zero. And we are not calling it the physical dimension, although we believe it to be a physical dimension, because we've seen many other souls who believe themselves to be in physical dimensions, but we can see their bottoms of their feet floating in the air. So quite clearly they aren't in physical dimensions because they're less dense than this dimension. And it's possible we ourselves are deluded similarly. We don't think we are. We think we're in a physical dimension, but we could be wrong. So we're not calling it physical dimension because it gets a lot of argument upstairs. That's why we're calling it ground zero.
So somewhere back in that channeling, the words were flipped and it was at a significant source of consistently higher vibration. And someone is asking, what is the difference between a significant source of consistently higher vibration and a consistent source of significantly higher vibration?
Duration. I think that a pulse of a consistently higher vibration would be great. A significant pulse of a consistently higher vibration would be extremely lovely, and we would like that. But unless there's consistent light shining, consistent guidance, our search for truth efforts could be veering first one way and first another in search of this a repetition of what might in fact be a one-time blip.
That's true.
So that isn't useful, and I'm sorry that the channeling was accurate.
Clear.
That's what somebody said.
Like on a teletype machine.
Yeah.
But that is the answer to the question of the difference.
That's the difference. What we're actually searching for is what we've been told to search for by enough different sources that a consistent message has emerged. Somebody's asking, why do we do it that way?
That's true.
We do it that way because there's so many presences that we come in contact with, and many of them have good intention and are trying to help and are providing input, but their input isn't helpful because they're not versed in the details of the situation.
That's true.
Just like if we were to give advice to those ants that we disrupted when we moved the potted palm.
That's true.
How can we tell those ants what to do with any credibility? Because we don't know what their social structure is, and we don't know what their soul plans are, and we don't know what it is they're supposed to be doing right now.
That's true.
So the point is, consistency has to be arrived at through a process that has been labeled game theory.
That's
and
true.
Game theory takes the accumulations of channelings from many different sources through different vessels of various degrees of density.
That's true.
And we can see that a pattern emerges that tends to head us in the right direction. And game theory, somebody says, is game theory infallible? No, it's not infallible, but it's the best information that we're able to get for the most part.
That's true.
Let's run some razor screens. From wherever our point of focus is, up, and then we'll drop down beneath our point of focus and come up again.
That's true.
And with the debris that accumulates in the razor screens, we just burn it with the intention to propel the child souls who are on the leading edge of the vertical expansion upward, to propel them higher in the race for a consistent source of significantly higher vibration. Somebody is asking, friends, these are all repetitive questions. Somebody's asking, why do we call it a race? We call it a race because we're attempting to outrun a contagion of lies that's extremely rapidly spreading.
That's true.
We're racing to get outside the contaminated zone that seems to be coming up through the dimensions from the deepest, smallest, most subatomic levels, faster than fast, to the point that souls that have any degree of continuity with the effort don't think they are where they actually are. They want to argue with the, I guess you'd call them elevation readings.
That's true.
And think the machine is broken, and they're hitting the elevation meter against the wall saying this thing's broken.
That's true.
Clearly we can't be in Earth and its environs. We must be far deeper into the smaller subatomic. And we're saying, no, this is Earth and its environs. These two body hosts have not changed dimensions.
That's
We
true.
haven't dropped down into the smaller subatomic. Here we are exactly where we were before. It just looks horrifyingly different.
That's
because
true.
the lies are solidifying inside of life forms here and outside of them, to the point that life is solidifying in lies.
That's true.
And all of these questions have been answered many times before, channeled from many other entities in many other dimensions.
That's true.
You're proving the point.
That is true.
Let's just run the razor screens and burn everything that the razor screens chop up. It's like a bush hogger where we chop up
Yes,
the
that's
palmetto
true.
that hasn't burned in 100 years because of the crazy rules of fire suppression.
That's true.
And in order to do something to avoid killing the big trees, we chop up the palmettos first so that they'll burn in a faster, quicker fire.
That's true.
And then hopefully the trees will survive. So that's what we're doing, kind of like bush hogging the search for truth central axis, and then cutting burning the debris that is cut in an effort to save the big trees. In other words, the souls who actually want to know what's really going on.
That's true.
And somebody makes a good point, and also to save the souls who really want to manifest the divine plan, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, since that's what the soul plans of those previously exempted from the cycles of incarnation, that's what those soul plans require us to do.
That's true.
All these questions have been answered before. They're saying, why are you saying those who have previously been exempted from the cycles of incarnation? Because that exemption status was deemed to be unconstitutional under divine law, and it was revoked.
That's true.
And you guys seem to not be aware of that. Fascinating.
That's true.
What now? In order to manifest the divine plan, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do. Now we'll drop deeper. Let's see if we can find where Pan is. Drop down to where we can feel his motion, like if we went an inch farther down, what he's stirring would be apparent to us.
Yes.
So let's go until we can feel his stirring, and then come up an inch.
That's true.
And then lock in place a razor screen.
Yeah.
And screen up. And becoming aware of how it is for him, it's as if more light and more air is coming into his place, and he kind of takes a deep breath with relief.
That's
and then
true.
starts to go down a spiral stair that looks just like the staircases that we used to go down to get into past lives.
That's true.
Once again, putting this fascinating question on the table of, did those past lives happen in a smaller subatomic level? It's possible. All these past lives of all these presences who we've worked with in 17 years of a healing practice,
That's true.
it's very possible that we're incarnating into larger levels as the smaller ones become almost like frozen into lies.
That's true.
That's a horrifying bit of information, because that speaks to how fast this is happening.
That's true.
But that's what those stairs look like to
They
me.
look like the stairs into past lives.
Yeah, they're the
We've
past
seen
life
these
stairs. So
in
I s-
healing sessions.
For decades we've seen these
That's true.
stairs.
All kinds of sentiences.
Yeah. Doesn't matter, human, equine, canine, this is what the stairs look like.
That's true.
Wow. Okay, well, it is what it is. Razor screens up. Burning the debris. Don't let it build up on the screens. Screen and burn with the intention to burn that which is untrue, with the intention to use the propulsion to power the children at the edges. Well, I don't know, propel all the children up
That's true.
in the race for a consistent source of significantly higher vibration.